You never know, I might get something decent this trip. I'm hoping anyway. There's big fish in here. Hat is a bit silly. I do look quite silly in it actually. It does look a bit daft, a little bit like a ranger, something like that. I managed to find a load of carp up one end. That's pretty high part of the stock in this area. That's a better fish. Yeah. It's just nice to get one. Yeah. Is it a fly? I'm lovely. Well, you find me back at Monk Lakes. I'm on the members lakes again, and I have come into a swim that I haven't fished since the spring, and when I did fish it I only had one carp. I am looking to try and catch more than that on this session. I've got 48 hours here as well. I've seen plenty of carp out there as well. There's lots of them on the surface, lots of them around the islands, so I think there's a good chance of getting a few bites on this session. Well, I've got 2 islands in my swim, and I've got margin as well, so there's plenty of features out there. I've decided to cast one at the island that's a lot more further away from me. I've seen a lot of carp out on the surface and a lot of carp actually sitting off the end of this island. It's a bit of a cast to get to it, but I've seen lots of carp there, so that's the reason I've cast there. And there's an island to my right, and I decided to also put one on there. I thought might as well have one on each island and see what happens, which one's best, and I'll find out over the session, I suppose, which one is the best one. And I've also put one in the margin to my right. Since I last fished here, the water's dropped down a little bit, so you can actually walk along instead of actually wading out and casting around the corner. So it's a bit more easier for me, and I've just flicked it out. All 3 rods are on Ronnie rigs. The ones to the island are on helicopter setups, and the one in the margin is on a lead clip. All my hook baits are the same. They're all on Dumbell, all Nut Wafters, tipped off a little microplastic corn. One that went the most last time I was here, so that's the reason I've decided that all 3 rods are on it, because I just caught more carp last time I was here, so I might as well stick with that for now. And I might change things up, depends on how the fishing goes, but that was what was happening last time, that every time I tried something a bit more brighter it didn't really work. Everything I did was a bit too much, but I think those ones were just a bit dull, and just that little touch of colour on top just made to draw the carp in and take it. The mix I'm putting out on the islands as well as putting in the margin, it's a Sakase mix. 15mm red lobster boilies that I've cut in half. I've got some 12mm all nut boilies in there as well. I've also got some 8mm ocean fruit pellets. Got lots of corn because they love sweet corn in here. They absolutely adore it, and they can't get enough of it, so I put loads in there. There is a few roach in the lake which they probably will end up eating most of it, but the carp do love it as well. I've also put some all nut glug in there as well. I've just put it in there just to add extra attraction, and because also my hook bait is all nut as well, I just want to match it a little bit. Like I said, I've got 48 hours in here, so I've got plenty of time to try and work out something that I need to do if I can't catch anything, that is. I'm sure I will. There's plenty of carp out there. Definitely seen them boshing out and up on the surface as well. Probably tomorrow, because it's meant to be really hot tomorrow, I probably might go for zigs or maybe do some surface fishing, but for now I'm going to try the bottom just for the night and see what happens. I've actually only got a couple of hours until it goes dark this evening, because got here a bit late, and it took a little bit more time than I was expecting to set up because it's so hot, and yeah. So I'm sure I'm going to get something. If I don't get anything in the next couple of hours, then we'll see what happens overnight, and if nothing happens overnight, then I'm crossing my fingers for the morning, but I'm sure I will get something. It's looking really good out there. You never know, I might get something decent this trip. I'm hoping anyway. There's big fish in here, so I definitely want to try and get one of them. So let's see what happens. Well, as you see, I've had nothing. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning and nothing's happened at all. The reason I'm wearing this hat is because it's going to be a hot day today, and I need to make sure I don't burn myself as I usually do. It's going to be really hot today. It's going to be 30 degrees, so yeah, it's going to be a warm one. Probably more likely to move on to things like zigs and stuff today, because there's just going to be no point in me fishing on the bottom unless I'm fishing in really shallow water. Maybe a margin one I might leave, but yeah, probably more likely to change. But yeah, it's going to be a challenging day, I think, with the heat. No carp so far is a bit miserable, really. I thought I would get something, you know. Last night I was confident there was plenty of carp here, and maybe they were just sitting up in the water and doing nothing all night. Maybe, I don't know. The one thing that's happened is I've managed to break my own rod, which is really good. It's not entirely broken. Basically, the top ring has shattered. The inner ring bit is shattered, and it was cutting up my line. Managed to fix that problem, which is a bit annoying, where it sort of chipped away and it's just sort of scraping against the line. And I managed to use a hook sharpener to bring down the sharpness of it, and I thought I can keep going on this session. I'm going to sort out some other rods when I get back after this session. I definitely need to get new rods now. Now I've broken them. Well, I've broken one anyway. I went to recast after I managed to sort of fix it, and I managed to break out more rings on the rod, so I've probably destroyed them. I've had them for a very long time. I've had them for about 7 years or so, but on this session they decided to fall apart, which is great. Yeah, so I managed to sort all that business out this morning, and be honest, I'm still annoyed that I've broken that rod up, but I can still possibly land a fish and cast, but it's going to be a bit dangerous, really. So my line is going to probably slightly grate against those exposed bits on the rod rings, but overall I should be able to land something. I'll have to see about that anyway. It was looking really promising this morning when I got up, but yeah, nothing's happened. It's been pretty quiet. I haven't really seen anything since it went dark. I didn't hear any splashes or anything, so maybe they moved out of the area. They were definitely out here when I arrived. They were all out in the middle of the water, swimming up and down, sun themselves. They were jumping out all over the place on this sort of side of the lake, and yeah, nothing's happened, which is unusual, really. Usually if you can find carp, you can usually catch them, but maybe it's just too hot at the moment. Maybe when it cools down they might feed a bit better, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna have to have a little think about it, maybe change the zigs today, maybe even go on the surface. Maybe I might have a go if I can find enough carp, that is. It is reasonably low stock on here, so you have to try and find the most bulk of the carp if you're going to have a go on the surface. But I'll try something today, and hopefully something else happens. Either a change of tactic, maybe I need to go and find them a little bit. Who knows? There's no one else on the lake at the moment, so I have got an opportunity to do that. But if people start turning up, then I'm pretty much stuck in my swim, and it's going to make it more difficult to catch something. So probably going to give it an hour or two, and nothing happens, then I probably might change tactics and try something else. Maybe even look around the lake and try and see if I can find an opportunity. I'm hoping to catch something today, but we'll see anyway. It's going to be a challenge in the heat. Well, I did actually have a go at zigs. I didn't actually get anything. A couple of hours passed and nothing happened, so I decided to bring the rods in, go and have a little walk. Managed to find a load of carp up one end, probably about 40 carp, so it's pretty high numbers. There's around about 90 to 100 carp in here, so that's pretty high part of the stock in this area. So I decided to move, and I've come into a swim that I fished previously. I know this swim really well. I know all the spots. I've even caught my PB common in here, so I've done really well in here in the past. So I'm going to continue, but in a new swim, and a swim that I've got confidence in as well. I normally cast 2 to the island in this swim, so I've decided to do exactly the same as I normally do. One is to a little hanging branch that's in the middle, and then the other one is towards hanging like tree towards the end. It's sort of hanging over. It's quite gravelly round there actually, quite rocky, quite firm as well, but it's rather shallow, so I've come back a little bit, only about 3 or 4 foot from it. And the other one is down the margin. Now normally in this swim I normally have to cast from the swim and then go around and bait up, but this time I've managed to do something a bit different. Because there's less water in it, I can actually walk along the front of the swim and walk all the way down and drop it in, which is even better because I can actually place it exactly on the spot as well, and I can also feel it down a bit easier. And there is little bits of weed and little bits of like leaves and little bit of roots and stuff that you sometimes hook in this lake, and I managed to actually find a spot that's really clean as well, so it's promising. And there's been a lot of carp swimming up and down that margin as well. Yeah, I put a couple of scoops in over them ready, just to spook off the carp that are in there, but I think the birds ate most of it already. I put at least 5 bombs over each one on the island as well. I think that's my starting on here, and just see what happens. A lot of them are on the surface, the carp. They don't really take to surface fishing on here. You put loads of biscuits out and they might eat the odd one and then they'll just disappear. So that's the reason I haven't bothered today, and because it's so hot today I didn't really want to mess around too much and constantly casting and constantly walking up and down trying to find them, and I just rather just move to where they are, place my baits in position and then wait for the evening. Maybe when it cools down they'll start feeding. They're still here, there's still good numbers of them out there, so yeah, looking promising. So hopefully I'll catch something this afternoon, but we'll see as it gets into evening. I'm hoping they'll get down and start feeding, hopefully. Let's see anyway. Well, managed to get my first bite. Actually I managed to get 2 on at once. Absolute mayhem at the moment. This one's only £15, but I got a bigger one in the sling, so let's get this one back and get that one out. Yeah. Oh, look at that. This is the bigger one, £24 and 4 ounces. That's a better fish, yeah. Oh, it's a lovely mirror. Oh. Well, the mirrors are a bit hard to get in this lake, so it's nice to get a decent one out of here. Most of the carp in here are really common, so it's just nice to get one. Yeah. Right, I'm gonna get it. Oh. Right, I'm gonna get it back, and hopefully I'll get a few more. Yeah. Oh. Well, I've managed to get my rods out back in place. It took a little bit longer than expected. It's pretty hot and I was exhausted from having to deal with 2 fish at once, so I just sort of take a little rest for a little while. Managed to sort out the rigs and the baits. I had a bit of a tangle up. I had to land 2 fish in the same net, so it was a bit chaos. I managed to sort it out and put them in both retaining slings, so that's how I sort of sorted them out, as I ended up separating them up so I could show them separately. Yeah, it was a little bit complicated and it took a little bit longer than expected, and by the time I've sorted my rigs out as well and got them out, it's taken a little while. It's about 7 o'clock now. Look at that fly. I'm lovely. There's little flies around. It's great. So yeah, I haven't actually managed to get any more bait in. I managed to get the rigs out and get the baits all sorted and everything, but I haven't put any bait over the top yet. So I'm going to go do that in a minute. Well, I've got a couple more hours of light, so maybe I'll get one more, but now I'm in a better swim. I've got more of a chance of getting a bite at any time now. Sort of when I was in the other swim, I just didn't really feel it that much, and I was going on about that it could happen at any time in that swim, but it just didn't feel that great. There was plenty of carp there when I started, but they just started to disappear, and the next morning I saw practically none out there, so that is the reason why I went looking, really. Yeah, I just want to know if anyone thinks my hat is a bit silly. I only wore it because the sun was really beaming down and it's 30 degrees today, but it's a bit of a daft floppy hat, but I think it looks alright, and I'm happy with wearing it on my session. I'll wear it again if it's really, really hot and look really silly, but I do look quite silly in it actually. It does look a bit daft, a little bit like a ranger, something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go and get some bait over them spots and see if anything happens in the next couple of hours. If it doesn't, then maybe tomorrow morning I'll get something. It'd be nice to just end with one more. That'll do, because it's been a bit of a struggle so far, and I've managed to quickly find a spot and quickly get some bites, so hopefully I can continue getting bites, but if not, one more will do. Well, nothing happened last night. It was pretty quiet. Once it got to about 8 o'clock, I didn't really see huge amounts in this area. I think I saw like 1 or 2 carp around, but they were mostly like backing off the area. It might have just been because the sun was coming down and it's not warm. I think maybe they were just down here in numbers because it was hot and warm, and it's really shallow up here as well on the far end anyway. But I think the move paid off coming down here. I'm just hoping that in the next couple of hours they're going to come back again like they did yesterday, and I might get a chance to get one more. That's what I'm after. It's been challenging, it's been difficult. I've stuck to the same baits and I've stuck to the same mix and everything. I haven't changed a single thing. I don't need to change anything. I know it all works. It's just the carp don't want to feed that much at the moment. Maybe it's just too hot. Maybe it's just too hot. Well, it's too hot for me anyway. Absolutely baking. Still sticking on the old hat because it's going to be hot today, so yeah, I'm doing that again. But yeah, it is going to be really hot today. I think it's going to be up like 31 or 32 degrees, but I've actually only got a couple of hours left in my session, and then I've got to go. So let's see what happens. Hopefully the sun gets higher up in the sky and warms up this area and the carp move back in here in numbers. I have seen the odd 1 or 2, but not enough yet to really get something going down here. But I'll see what happens in the next couple of hours, and hopefully something happens soon. That'd be nice. get another bite, only a smallie. This one only £10, but it's just nice to get another one. Well, I've had a really difficult session. Making the move paid off in the end. I can't ask for more than that. At least I've caught. It's been tricky. Well, at least I had that nice 20. I'm really happy with that fish. Really nice mirror. So I've got to be grateful for that one, I suppose. So all I've got to say is thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.